Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I'm a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on January 17th, 2024 at approximately 4:08 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day-to-day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the precise philosophies I personally live by. Now, with this in mind, figured today we will take a look at a very simple and complex problem all at once. Society, where are we today? Now, before I get into it, right off the bat, we have Storm and Shadow in the house with the gold. I decided I ended up actually starting a little early today, and that's okay from my end. I'm usually not on till 4:30. But that being said, when I take a look at society, now understand, I remember a lot of my past lives. Okay, and I am in the middle of documenting them. Nathan, how we doing? Glad you could join us. And where are we? Yeah, well, being back to work is a good thing. It really is, Nathan. Now, before we get into anything here, let us see info. And I really should have had this all sorted out already, but let's face it, that's normal for me. Oh, look, I remember to close the door. Storm and Shadow, where are we? This is the link to Storm and Shadow's live stream. And therefore, if you'd be kind enough to drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, do give him a thumbs up and then subscribe to the channel. And then we have Nathan here with the Quantum Show. And Nathan is in with the Silver. So this said, here's the link to his live show. And absolutely, again, drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, give him a thumbs up, do subscribe to the channel, and share the daylights out of it. Then we have who popped in here. LA Moon is in with the bronze. And then we have Chad Smith in with honorable mention. And where are we here? Chad. This is the link to Chad Smith's archives. So, as with all the others, absolutely, give him a drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he's got to say, do give him a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Okay. Now, I must say there has been some very definitive changes that have taken place over the last little while. And the reason for this is very simple. Just a week ago-ish, like within the last week, my stress level got to a point that was just absolutely uncontrollable. Or almost. So what did I do? I turned around and decided and fought with myself whether or not to actually shut the stream down. Okay. Now, as it turns out, I had a lot of support that popped in. A lot of support from you guys that popped up and said, hey, do us a favor and don't shut down. I honestly could not believe the amount of support I got. I really don't see myself as that much as that special. That being said, I certainly appreciate it. And Ferret has wandered in. How you doing, Ferret? Glad you could join us. And where did I miss? That's always entertaining. Am I missing something here? I'm just looking to see if I missed Ferret. There. Missed you coming in there, Ferret. Anyway, that being said, I wanted to take a look at, well, more to the point, I desired to take a look at society itself. Okay. And I appreciate that, Ferret. And yeah, you've been living here. I think I actually, in all fairness, where are we here? Now, as you well know, and I've got to get, whoa, put brain on hold. Actually, I already did that. I have to make notes for myself because my brain doesn't work half the time. So we do this because I've got to get a list to Chad as well. You know, the reality is you cannot run one of these things effectively without backup. Okay, and where are we? And that should give you a handle. Now, I will get you the list of rules is actually listed is already listed in the site description. Okay. Yeah, and that's one. You're more than welcome there, Ferret. You know, meditation I do while I'm sitting here, but then I figured out how to meditate while I'm in full motion. And this is something that I really will have to take a look at. And, you know, I don't know if it's teachable in this particular case, but it really boils down to a mindset. But where I was going was I remember a lot of my past lives. Okay. And I'm in the process of documenting them in all fairness. Okay. With that in mind, what's going to end up happening here is I take a look at society and go, okay, I've seen these markers before. People fighting with each other, people going, I deserve more than everybody else. You know, I desire the best of the best with no effort. You know, and I will touch on some of that today, but here's the thing. Okay. So in today's world, I was trying to watch a movie on YouTube today. And I kid you not, every 5 minutes, it seemed, there was a new ad coming up pointing out that every major industry in the world is on the verge of collapse. And there's all these newfangled pills available and all these newfangled programs available where you can be a millionaire, healthy as you were as a teenager, which in some cases is a bad thing. Okay. More energy than you've ever had, attract all the best people in the world, all by sitting on your backside and doing absolutely jack. Okay. Now, there was a time, and even when I was drinking heavily, I didn't drink jack a lot. Right. I honestly found it a little harsh. But it is time we pull our heads out of the collective sand, our collective heads out of the sand, and realize if we desire this world to change, we're going to have to make it happen. It's not up to the religious leaders, because let's face it, they're not doing their job properly. If they're supposed to be teaching love, joy, cooperation, and caring, they are failing miserably and have for centuries. Okay. And the reason I say that is, well, do your own research. My research, and when I talk about research, my discussions with people have brought about some pretty brutal realities. And that is 80% of the wars around the world are caused by people turning around. You know, are caused by people turning around and going, oh, you don't believe in the same God I do. Therefore, we're going to wipe you off the map because my God said you can. And it said I can. Chris Holm, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Thus far, the day's been not bad. Didn't get quite as much done as I'd like, but I got a whole pile of things lined up to do. And that is just not going to work. Oh, okay, well, we're just going to ignore that. Now, Like I said, the religious world has failed miserably. Absolutely miserably. Because they're turning around, and like I said, they are literally, from what I understand, directly responsible for a good 80% of the wars around the world. The rest are based on greed. And I think that might be cross correlated. But we've got a choice. We can follow our religious leaders, our spiritual guides into war. There's a good place to find peace. By the way, war has never brought peace. It's brought quiet, but it has never brought peace. Okay, now 50,000 years ago, we had world peace, no greed, no famine, okay, and no war. It can be done again. But the catch to it is you got to put your weapons down. And by the way, weapons are not just a physical gun or a physical sword or a club. The tongue can be just as deadly and quite often more so than the actual physical weapons. So here we have our spiritual guides going, the spiritual leaders going, go to war, kill everybody that doesn't agree with you. This is a good way to peace. Well, sure it is. Everybody's dead. There's no war. Okay, now somehow I think this loses part of the translation there. Or you can listen to your politicians. Now your politicians are going, I'm going to make laws that apply to the poor, and we're going to tax the daylights out of them. And the wealthy who have the money, well, let's give them all the tax breaks. That worked so well back in Rome. That worked so absolutely brilliantly well. Okay, again, let's pay attention to that kind of an idea. Now, before any brilliant genius out there comes to the conclusion that overthrowing a government or overthrowing a church is a good idea, let me explain something very clearly. Okay, the systems themselves are well designed. Okay, the systems themselves are very well designed. Where the problem is the people that keep getting elected into positions of power, okay, have a problem. They are still operating on the idea of what can I get out of the world? Now, when certain governments were put in place, it was literally stated, we are a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. I'm not sure where the people went they were referring to, because I'll tell you, what I'm bearing witness to does not bear, and that does not bear true. Okay, don't get me wrong. The government is laying things out for the people to follow. Wouldn't it be nice if they followed the same laws they make? Now, the same is applicable to corporations. So let's follow what they've got to say. There's a brilliant idea. I'm going to get something made where I only have to pay 3 cents to get it made. I'll pay that to 3 cents, and I'll pay that 3 cents to another person in another country where they can't survive. So they're living in poverty. The people here I'm not giving the money to in the first place. So they're living in poverty. But hey, I did good. I got money in my pocket. Now, I will tell you, money is not the root of all evil. Money is simply a barter system. That is it. Okay, and as a barter system, let me tell you, way easier to move a $10 bill than a cow. Besides that, you got the $10 bill. If you don't feed the thing, it won't die on you. Okay, kind of a permanent barter point. But if you run a business, okay, very simple laws, and these are the only 3 laws that I ever follow. But pay attention to these 3, because when you look at all the other laws available, if you compare them, you will find they all fit inside the originals. Okay, so what we're going to do is the 3 laws are this. Be true to yourself first. Okay, Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. And energy out, energy in. Okay, those three laws are all equally important. Very much like the three legs on a three-legged stool. You require all three of them in order for the stool to stand up. If you do not follow all three laws, all three of the karmic laws, things will go sideways. Okay, and this is just the reality behind it. Now, something we must realize. Okay, I had to draw some boundaries, and this is where the moderators come in. Okay, yes, I make mistakes, so will some of the moderators. Okay, as a matter of fact, all of them probably will at some point. This said, if there is a mistake made, I'd apologize for making mistakes, but let's face it, I'm a lot of things, and perfect isn't one of them. Okay, but if we take a look at the world, okay, and we go, where is it heading? Well, on its current path, does Rome ring a bell? Does the Roman society ring a bell? Okay, how about the world back in 1929, I believe. Where were we here? 1918. The reality of it is, we take a look at the wars that are going on or that have gone on. They have not brought peace. If they had brought peace, we wouldn't have this problem. If corporations and businesses alike, bear in mind, if from what I remember, somebody once told me that an individual, according to the government, is a corporation. Okay, now I don't know how that stands up. I haven't looked back into it. I did a long time ago, and I forget what I found. But take a look at yourself. If you take a look at yourself as an entity, and you treat people the way you desire to be treated, it doesn't guarantee things will work, but it does stack the deck in your favor. Let us refresh that just to see what we're up against. Now, with this in mind, I was just in contact with my with my advertising company, okay, to start getting things set up to change things on that end. But what I am looking at here is very simple. Okay, society has a lot of work ahead of it. We are not going to turn this around overnight. We're not going to turn society around overnight, but we can no longer wait for society to straighten out. This is why I decided it's time for me to come out of the shadows and put my foot in my mouth in public. Okay. Now the reality of it is this. I am working on a number of different books. I've got new ads coming out regarding the ones I've done. Much more importantly, is in here, we are going to start making changes. Now, let me ask you this. As listeners, if you could identify something in society that really requires adjusting, okay, to make this a better world for virtually everybody, what would it be? Now I gotta say thank you very much. I get a notification of who gets popped. And LA, like our moderators, I've got there for a very simple reason. I can't catch all the problems before they get here. This is what I rely on you guys for. But if there was one thing, and so thank you very much for that there, LA. Really appreciate it. Now, if there is anything in society, or one thing for that, and let's put it that way, that you feel would be really beneficial to really push and start turning back to a more equitable style. Thank you very much, Ferret. If you didn't already check, there is a list, but I'm going to run through them anyway. What is that? I don't think that's right. What is that? Nope. First and foremost, okay, a couple of things we just don't discuss here. And as you see, I don't know if you guys saw it, and I'm not about to repeat it, but just to be blatantly obvious, people that you spot coming in with names that are deliberately derogatory, absolutely, I've got no patience for them anymore. I made the mistake of sitting back for 2 years and hoping that people would grow up. Unfortunately, for the majority, it worked like a charm. Unfortunately, there are still those that still have the maturity level, of a pocket watch. Except a pocket watch will at least keep time, which is what its job is. Now, here's the thing. Okay, people that come in with those names, I don't even want to know about them. Okay, I get a quick little flash here on my list that says this moderator cut this person off. Okay, I'm not going to go into the question as to why, because some of you moderators know problem children from your own streams, and taking them out of the equation is the best thing for me personally. Understand, I don't bring this under control. I die. Stream shuts down. I've done the dying thing before, wasn't overly impressed. Okay, but with that in mind, I have no interest in tolerating those kind of lead names. We are not getting into which God is the best God, or, like we've had people come in here and go, oh, you must believe in this God. That is the only way to the truth. Well, guess what? It may be. In this stream, okay, I believe wholeheartedly in God. This is just a blatantly stated fact. I believe wholeheartedly in Christ. I don't ask anybody to explain it to me. Don't ask anybody to back me up on it. Kyle, how you doing? Glad you could join us. Hopefully your day's been going well. So I do not get into religious debates in here, and we are certainly not handling or dealing with political lobbying. Not going to happen. Okay. Unless, the only thing in the way of lobbying is, okay, here is something that we have to do. Okay, here's a hiccup the society has. Okay, and those things, absolutely, this is Wednesday. Okay, so those particular issues we are going to look at. And if you've got an idea, if you know of a problem in society, absolutely absolutely bring the topic up. If you've got questions, even if they aren't of the same topic we're talking about right now. Okay, absolutely put the question in the chat room, preferably in all caps. Okay, all caps, partial caps, at least a wavy hand so I can see it. Okay, I'm not going to catch every question. So that said, if you've got questions, absolutely, if I don't get to them, either restate them or drop me a line. Okay, and there's a whole list of ways under every video I put out of what you can do, of how to get a hold of me. So absolutely do bring the questions to my attention. I will do my best to get at and to get to them. Now let me find something here. That one. Uh-oh. I gotta wait for that to scroll up the rest of the way there. Yeah, to scroll up the rest of the way there. Oh. Why is my chat? Now, I'm afraid I don't quite understand that one there. Oh. Oh, that's what that is. Okay. I'm glad you. Yeah, thanks so much, Ellie. I get a little sidetracked on occasion. Let me see here. Now, I do have to do that. Unless, here we are. This is why I'm required. Okay, because I lost a sheet of paper. So we take that and we pop that in right about there so I can see it. Okay, now, today being Wednesday, well, would you knock that out? I love the way this thing bounces. Okay, today being Wednesday, we are looking at literally, where are we? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We are looking at society's current path. Okay, this is where the primary focus is at this point. Okay, and I gotta find that out. On Thursdays, I'm not here. Like tomorrow, I won't be here. That's my game night. I appreciate that, Kyle. And just to be clear, Kyle Merck is just going, I'm not the troll, guys. I promise. And here's the way that works. Absolutely, I'm going to take it at face value, Kyle. And I know my moderators will. Okay, the way I look at it, even trolls, quite frankly, can have a good day. Now, my understanding of trolls used to come from D&D, from Dungeons and Dragons. But as long as the rules are listed, are followed, I'm not going to worry about it too much, because maybe, just maybe, like a kid that I grew up with, I grew up under a bully. Okay, and I never reacted in the normal way anyway, but eventually that bully and I became very good friends. Okay, because I gave him the opportunity to turn around. Oh, okay. I gotta ask, Kyle, where, pray tell, are you from? Yeah, I mean, as in what country? Okay, understand, I got people all over the world that are now tuning in, which is great. This is what the intention was. Okay, the reason I ask is because even me being a recluse, I came across it quite a while ago. Uh-oh, can't read that. Ah, you live in Bergensi. Well, there we go. In a nutshell, Kyle, I am getting the rules posted and what have you, but here's the deal. Okay, there are a couple of things we just don't. These will get you evicted in a heartbeat. Okay, and that is the law, the rules that will get you evicted, and these may be added to. I don't know yet, but stating any belief structure is better than any other one. You can believe what you will. You can worship who you desire to. You can even go so far as to say, I believe in God or I don't. Okay. But what is not permissible is somebody standing up and going, your God is evil. If you don't follow mine, you're going down a path to hell. I'm telling you, I've been to hell. It's a great place to hang out. The hot tubs are a little too warm for my liking. But I will tell you, the deep tissue massages are literally to die for. But as long as you don't bring up that side of it, you don't do any political lobbying. Okay, political lobbying I've got no use for. Okay, I do promote, if somebody's got a stream, I will quite readily promote their stream. If I check it out and it's something I agree with, I will absolutely promote it. Okay, because that's just the way things work for me. Okay, the other thing, and I will hang up on people just on principle, if somebody tells me your opinion is wrong, categorically an opinion cannot be wrong. But if we're going to turn this world around, Ken, how we doing? Glad you could join us. Man, it's got to be dark where you are, because it's getting dark here. But if I leave things alone, like I sat in silence, I sat in the shadows for 55 years in the hopes that people would grab a brain. Turns out that wasn't a good move. Okay, so, and then the last 2 years, I've been basically sitting by and letting people carry on as they will. It has degraded to a problem, which is why I've now put the boundaries in place. Okay, that these are just simply the rules I'm working with. People have this brilliant idea that they can push buttons. This is usually a bad idea. Okay, Dill, how we doing? Hopefully things are going well for you. I have not. Well, there we go. And I'm guessing that we have an interesting problem. Gee, everybody buried him. Obviously, Dill, and this is why I said, guys, thanks so much. The reality is, I don't know where all the problem children are. You know, the nice part about it is when we take a look at the world, okay, we can leave it the way it is. That's virtually guaranteed to end in the same thing it did a long time ago. Okay. Now, the fact of the matter is, we've got an opportunity to turn things around really quick. Okay. And this is just the reality behind it. You know, I'm not looking for, there is no way I can. This stream will work beautifully. There won't be conflicts. Some may get shut down that maybe had no ill intention. That's the way life works. Okay. But we will get it sorted through. You know, one of them, where are we here? Oh, well, that would explain in a hurry. What is it with people? I keep sitting here going, I'm doing my best here to be clear. And yet we still have geniuses that do that kind of thing. LA's just told us that Kyle went bye-bye when he changed his name to an obscene name. Now, this is the epitome of stupidity. Okay. Terry, how you doing? Glad you could join us. It does seem that things are taking an annoying path. Oh, thank you very much, Steve. I appreciate that. I was thinking it was someplace in Africa. This is why I say the people in this room are literally, you guys have helped so much. This is why I'm doing my level best to keep things moving. I don't have a lot of options. I ran into a snag the other day, and I was talking to Nathan about it in private. Okay, and the reality is, I don't bring things under control here. I get a wonderful side effect. I get to have another heart attack, and due to the fact that my eldest son came right out and asked me, my eldest son come right out and asked me. He says, "I know you've got a lot you're trying to do, Dad, but could you please avoid having another heart attack before I graduate?" So I mean, from my standpoint, this is why I've got so many people stepping up and going, "Okay, let's keep an eye on this. This is a community effort." Okay, it is a community effort, and I have no idea why I'm popular with the trolls. I'll tell you, I was never popular with the girls when I was growing up. Why the trolls seem to like it, I don't know. Maybe because of the fact that I'm outspoken. Maybe because of the fact that I push limits. I don't know. And let's follow that up with the obvious. Don't care either. Ah, there we go. Yeah. And I appreciate that. Taking a look at this and going, okay, how do we turn around and make this stream, this area, feel safe for people on the whole? I'm not sure if there's a pretender at this point, Nathan, or not. I do know that it's being watched for very carefully. And I have, as you've seen, I did turn Ferret into a moderator the reality of it is, I know we've had complications, but I'm really relying on the moderators and on the moderators to keep an eye on everybody. And for obvious reasons, this means on the moderators as well. Like I said, if I'm going to put laws in place, they have to apply to everyone. Okay, this is why where it comes to my business, to Inner Enterprises, I've already worked it out that once it's generating enough money to live on, 80% of the net profit will be returned to the people. Okay, it will be returned to the contributors, the helpers, the supporters, and quite frankly, the customers. Okay, 80% of the net profit. Absolutely, Storm. Storm just goes, trolls are an infestation, are an infestation actually, and mods are the exterminators. Shadow, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And with Shadow in the room, we have this other neat little thing. Where the heck is it? Nope, not that one. There, that one. And this is the link to Shadow and Sun stream. And therefore, drop in, give him a listen. If you like what he has to say, do come out and do give him a thumbs up, and do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of the thing. These streams that I do promote in here, I promote them because I feel they have something to offer. Okay, it's just that simple. Now, something we have to realize: if we don't curb the flow of stupidity on this planet, and I mean that in the kindest of ways. Now, I'm not sure how we're going to translate that into being kind, but greed is not working. Okay, and this is why I keep going to get up and I don't have to. I've got it over here. These particular books, okay, these three here, these are all there's actually a series of 12 that will be coming out here. I like the number 12 personally, but each one of these is only $20, okay, Canadian, and that puts the copy in your hand anywhere in Canada and the continental US. Other countries, I don't know. I will ship anywhere, but I don't know the shipping costs yet. Now, who do we got here? Bart Vision, how we doing? I do trust, welcome aboard. I trust things are going well for you and yours. The nice part about what I'm aiming for here, and quite honestly, I'm aiming for it on a global level, not just on this pocket room. Okay, I mean, we've got a staggering number of people in here. Where are we? There. Okay, we are looking right now, and we've been hovering in the early 580s for a while. Okay, my goal is to, and I've already started to advertise for it, but I am looking at driving the membership up, the subscriptions up. The more that we have coming in here, the bigger an impact we can have, and just possibly, we might be able to turn part of this mess around. Okay, now, I've asked this earlier today, where we start looking at the society hiccups. In your eyes, what are some of the things that you feel really must be turned around? And what I'm going to do with those is I will simply be making a list as people bring in topics that are complicated or necessary. Okay, I'm going to make a list, and on where it comes to Wednesday, I will be tackling these bigger problems. Now, I will not be tackling mainstream religion head on. Yes, I will talk about it in general terms, but I will not tangle with one and say this one's better than the rest. Because in my eyes, they all have the same job. They all have the same hiccup. Okay, and it is time to turn things around and go, okay, where are we going from here? Now, I know there's a major problem going on with with unfair law. Yeah, unfair as in laws that do not apply to everybody. Okay, in this stream, to be clear, the laws that are listed here they apply to everybody, all the way from we start with the visitors, with the regular viewers, okay, regular subscribers, the moderators, and frankly myself. Okay, I follow the same rules. Quite frankly, I follow the rules I list here. And thank you so much for that, Storm. You know, it's very simple. I follow 3 karmic laws. Now, those laws, compare them to the laws that you personally are using. Okay, whether they're religious, family, legal, as in written by society, personal boundaries, guidelines drawn up by the 12-step programs, any of them. If you find a rule that does not fit inside those 3, let me know. I'm still looking for them. Okay. And, from my standpoint, it really boils down to a simple issue. Okay. If I am not willing to treat everybody with the same respect that I'm requesting, well, frankly, I'm no better than anybody else. Okay. And in fairness, I'm really not. I am looking at taking this whole stream, finding a way to make it a lot more visible. Okay, I figure we have billions of people on the planet listening to people go, the world is ending. We've got a shortage of this. We got a shortage of that. It is, I'm not saying the things are not real. Okay, there is this massive island of garbage in the middle of, I believe it's in the Pacific Ocean, that is approximately a mile in diameter. Now, this is not by Mother Nature. This is by people. That would explain that. Welcome aboard there, Bart Visions. I do appreciate you dropping in. Quite honestly, I've done my best to drop in on Nathan's channel as often as I can. And that's Nathan's channel, right? So he sets his own laws. And the reality of it from my standpoint is real simple. I'm not subtle. Okay, I know we have a problem with garbage on this planet. Okay, I absolutely do. Okay, this is evidenced, and don't take my word for it. For pity's sakes, do your own research. Okay, there is I think it's the middle of the Pacific Ocean, there is a pile of garbage. There's an island that is a mile in diameter. Okay, now granted, it has provided a floating island for the seagulls. Okay, which is, from my end, hey, they need a place to land when they're in the middle of the ocean. But one person, people go, well, it's just a candy wrapper. And one person dropping a candy wrapper on the ground, absolutely, it's only one. Take any city with 100,000 people, and now drop 100,000 candy wrappers on the ground, and it may not look so enjoyable. Okay, now, yes, we're still going to have garbage. Unfortunately, society is wasteful. And yeah, frankly, I do contribute to it. I am not perfect. Okay, that's just the reality of it. Now, one of the things, I appreciate that, LA. Not a problem, Storm. The reality of it is that what I'm looking at, because understand, for me, it's simple. I'm the one at the top of the totem pole, obviously. Okay. The reason I have moderators popped in. Yeah. This isn't a question of whether or not you're honest in there, Bart. Whatever you do, do not take things personally. If I'm going to do something that is, if I'm going to do something that is personal, I'm pretty subtle about it. Okay. Like I said, I'm not known for being subtle at all. But I look at this world and go, okay, the way this works is this. I've got people sitting in. I've got people. First of all, I've got an image up here. Unfortunately, it goes against what so many people are doing. Okay, and it goes against, or it doesn't follow the same path. Yeah, but that's so much more subtle than an international. Or if you want to go into the other book, okay, when we take a look at the Yldrbacian Chronicles, I have two vehicles that are in there. They're both oversized. One called the Tarmac Terror. The Tarmac Terror is, let me think here. It has, I believe I've got it listed with an international. Might be a Freightliner in all fairness. Okay, but it is painted purple, and it's painted purple, mauve, and pink in camo pattern. Okay, running with steel cleated wheels in a post-apocalyptic environment, dragging around a 40-foot trailer with eight 50 caliber machine guns on the back. This is not something designed to hide. Okay, and then you've got the ogre, which is ridden by, and again, it is a massive machine. Okay, you take two internationals simply because of the front line, weld them together, put a Kenworth on top. Okay, and now you've got your trailer behind. I've got a thing where it comes to the whole idea of the trucking industry, and that's where we go back to here. Now, there are people out there that are so integral in our job, in our life. Absolutely, Shadow. Go and have a good game. The reality of it is, we have a world, okay, where the truckers, where the long haul truckers and the short haul, okay, are absolutely imperative to us staying in touch with each other. Okay, to gain material shipped from one end of the world to the other. These guys, I've talked about a lot about the support I have for the military in any country, for the people that step up to protect their families, protect their community, protect their country. Absolutely, I've got a lot of respect for you. Okay, I said the same thing about the first responders, the people that are involved in the ambulance, in medical, in fire protection, the police, the people that step in to take care of us when we don't have the ability to. Okay, the same thing applies to the delivery drivers and the truckers. Okay, if it weren't for all these different people pitching together, we would be in a serious world of hurt here. Okay, and it really boils down to an issue of we have to turn around and start doing what we can. Now I will tell you that right now we do not have a really wide array of people in here. Eventually we will. And the thing is, I'm looking at it right now, and let me just do a quick count here. And again, I do this a lot, okay? Because I find it easier on occasion to track it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, here's the way I'm looking at this, because I'm a firm believer that if you find a pattern, you're in good shape. Oh, that's always entertaining. Thank you very much there, Storm. It is amazing. Like, I've got some absolutely quality moderators in this room. Okay. And I mean, of all the stupid things to do, and yeah, I do call it stupid because realistically, you should know better. Okay. But I'm looking at this and I've got right now, take my glass off so I can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 6 right now. Now, that being said, guys, from a moderator standpoint, this is just out to you guys. Okay, just to let you know. I do not argue with you there at all, LA. That is right off the bat. I mean, of all the dumb things to do, let's claim to be a moderator on somebody's channel when that person is not only a moderator here, but more importantly, in the chat room. Okay, I mean, it's just absolutely bizarre. But I have right now, just for you, so you guys are aware, and like I said, I'm making rules up as I go along. So right now, we've got 584 subscribers. Okay, I've got 6 moderators in the room. Okay, so with that being said, until we break the 600 mark and start moving into the 7, and we'll play it by ear. Somewhere after that, we will start looking for another moderator. Okay, and this is to you guys, to you moderators. Okay, absolutely keep an eye out for somebody that's in here on a regular basis that is actually of quality use. Okay, I've made enough miscalculations. I know how to calculate things. That's the easy part. But we've got a world here that we have to start stepping up and taking. We've got to start stepping up and working together, to make this happen. Now, like I said, I'm not getting into the political thing. Yeah, and that's just it. And I don't know, I presume you just heard that, Ferret. We brought you in, and I won't be bringing another moderator in until we get well into the 600 mark. Because this way I've got one moderator per 100 subscribers. That way, no doubt there, Steve. When I well, the reality there in Las Vegas, it's not a question of who is or who isn't. Okay, it's a question of I pick the ratio that I'm working with. Okay, it's not a question of anybody. Like I said, every individual is of value. There is no question there at all. Now, some people will undoubtedly take offense to what I say. I'm used to it. It's not that I don't figure I can do better. I certainly can. I'm just not good at it, it would seem. Whoop, trying to get something filed here and it's not cooperating. It turns out my eyes are doing really wonderful things. That goes there, and those get added. Whoop. There we are. Now we can file those where they belong, and that solves that problem. W. There we are. Okay. But, the funny part about it is I see everybody in here, everybody in here is absolutely of value. Okay. Everybody is, quite frankly, of equal value. Actually, that's not true. There's one that is more valuable than anybody in this room. And that's me. Because if I get fed up with it, I just close the door and that's the end. Now what do we got here? Welcome aboard there, Derek. Glad you could join us. Whoop. Well, I'm guessing that has an explanation. Oh, thank you so much, there, Storm. I wish there were that the security on YouTube was better, that people would actually have to have. I kind of figured that there, Loss. Although I will tell you, the reason I responded to it is because there are those that listen that will look at it and go, oh no, he's picking favorites. No, I'm picking people that fit the bill. Okay. And I really hesitate to say trust. I mean, that is a major challenge. As those that know me personally, realize I have a very big issue with trust. I am absolutely certain, like, I trust society quite well. I know it's on the verge of tearing itself apart. This is just blatantly obvious. Okay. And it's something that we've got to work together, which is what's happening here. Okay. It's something that we've got to work together to change. Now, I can tell you there are all kinds of hiccups going on that have to be sorted out. Who's that? Steve. Oh, yeah, I will get those out tonight. What are we? Sherry. Trying to read. Yep. And Steve goes in there. And Steve, that's your file to make certain that you get the Positive Perspectives newsletter. Okay, I'm just popping it into the file at this point. And who is this? This is going to Rob. There we are. Now that's up to date. So because I haven't quite got February's completed, I'll be tying it off tonight. But at least I hope I am. I desired it out on the 17th. That didn't happen. But Diane, how are we doing? Glad you could join us. Hopefully things are going well for you. I will be the one, and those of you that have just asked for the newsletter will be getting January's right away because I'll ship it out tonight. Everybody else already got January's. February's I'm still in the middle of tying off. But if you guys know, if anybody in the chat room or anybody listening in knows of something in society that we really would do well to start working on putting back to right, absolutely drop me a line, okay, at any one of the contact points below, or this email will actually put you in direct contact with me ASAP. Okay, if you've got a topic, absolutely drop me a line. That email works not only for getting in touch with me, but any of the books I've got in print, or if you're looking for consulting, all of that is done through the same one. Boy, we get a staggering number of those, don't we? I mean, I'm taking a look at this going, there's got to be I'm sort of looking at this going, well, apparently I'm making an impact that so many people want to come flying through the door. Oh, okay. Thanks, Ellie. I do appreciate that. This is what I was referring to about maturity levels of people. Now, I'm no screaming genius here, and I've got my off days. But I will tell you, I'm going to continue pushing the limit on pointing out or on turning the lights on what we've got going on. I take a look at the grocery stores around the world, and so many people are going to the automated systems, to the automated tellers or automated cashiers. Unfortunately, what's happening is so much is being turned over to the automated side, and so many videos are coming out going, oh, you can be rich and healthy and have the body of a god by doing absolutely jack, and just sit on your tail feathers and your life will change. Okay, just sit down and pray for good things to happen and you're in like Flint, which some of you will remember that show. The sad part is I sort of have to look at the number of geniuses we're getting coming in here lately. Okay, these are people that absolutely, if they would simply come in of their own accord, come in under their own name, okay, or one that is not a copy, okay, sit and listen. You may learn something. You may not. I mean, Lord knows I'm a little dense. Definitely slow on the uptake. But, essentially, where is my list of tasks that I've got to do? I think that's it there, is it not? That it is. So, I am just making a list here. And I just put we have looking for a name here. There we go. Just making a note for myself to make sure that January's and positive perspectives goes out to the appropriate people. In this case, Steve, once the stream is shut down, okay, once I close the stream off, you are on the list to get your copy, your January copy tonight. Okay. And this is why I say, for those of you that are listening, if you desire a copy of the free newsletter, and like I said, it is free. The reason it's free is simple. And that's where I put my advertising. That is when, but I've got a very definitive ratio of what I am going to advertise, what I'm going to be doing as far as the help side of it goes. I mean, you'd think people would get a quarter brain somewhere along the way. Thanks so much for that, Storm. I mean, it's absolutely amazing to me. But I'm not going to worry about. I'm going to ignore what's going on as much as I can, as far as the number of people coming in. Okay, they're walking through the door and getting pitched right out. I picture it like the old cartoons, the old Looney Tunes. Guy goes running into the bar, and somebody else on the other side opens up the door, and they go running right back out the other side. Okay, this is what is absolutely required. Now, here's a funny thing, a funny little feng shui thing. Okay, if you've got a mirror, if your main door faces a mirror, okay, this is a good way to get the positive energy to bounce right out. Okay, if you've got a mirror that faces your main entrance, okay, the energy will come in, hit that mirror, and bounce straight back out the door. Net result prosperity may be a little delayed, to say the least. However, if you take, whether it's actual plants, plastic plants, or decals of plants, and put them on the corners or around the edge of the mirror, you break that rebound, and the prosperity will continue coming in. Now, I think I've got it there. And this one I really do have to get up for. What page hell is in that? I don't know, so I'll have to look. I do know what's in this. See, as you know, some of you will recognize this old-fashioned cash box. Like I said, I'm a dinosaur. These, for those of you that don't know, and yes, I'm going to, this all ties together, by the way. Okay. This is citrine. Okay. Now, citrine it's a prosperity booster. This is malachite. Okay. And it too is a prosperity booster. Either one of these, if you're looking for a way to bolster the profitability of your business, of your home, of your personal finances, doesn't matter. Either one of these two stones work really well because the majority of people see them as prosperity boosters. So I keep one of each. Okay. And this one being a double terminate, you can tell because it's got the 2 points. Okay. This one being a pyramid. What I would like to find is, and quite frankly, some of you guys may know where to find this. I would love to find three-sided malachite. Okay, instead of a four-sided pyramid, three-sided, very much like a gaming dice. Okay, but I keep one of these in my cash box. Okay, and the reason for that is for exactly that reason. And here's the other side of that. Where'd it go? Up here. Again, you desire your world to change. You desire your prosperity level to change. Couple of very important factors. You got to believe it's possible. So I'm just going to take this. Whoop, not that one. There. Pull this neat little thing out. Keep that one there. We put a $20 bill in the cash box, along with the financial boosters. And that result, we start altering the energy. Now you'll notice I managed to get the bed here sorted out. What have we got? Well, yeah, but I put it in my cash box, and I've got paper in my cash box. LA's just saying malachite dissolves if it's subjected to water or liquid. So I put it in a dry box, and the reason for that is, well, frankly, I don't like my money getting wet. Of course, I don't like my paper getting wet either. You ever try writing on loose leaf paper when it's wet? It doesn't work worth a hoot. And guys, for those of you that are just listening in, okay, that are listening in or just joining us, if you like the stream, do give us a thumbs up. Do subscribe to the channel and share the daylights out of the thing. That would be really appreciated. And yes, I will be, understand something very important. One of the things I will be looking into on the Fridays when I'm dealing with the paranormal tools is I utilize this book. I am not a gemologist. So when I'm looking for information on crystals, it's literally this one. I didn't write it, by the way. Okay, this particular book, Love is in the Earth, was written by Melody. Okay, so I am not the one that's got all the knowledge. Most of it, well, technically I've got the knowledge. I hold it right here. And I keep it on my head if I want to put it up here. But, that's another issue. But I will cover some of the more common ones as I go along. Oh, where are we here? See, LA is just enlightening us here. Citrine is easier to take care of. Yeah, she goes, Citrine is easier to take care of. I just love gems and stones. I like them more than I like people in a lot of cases. Of course, the reality is that when we're taking a look at people have a tendency, in my experience, of absolutely, in case you haven't noticed by the number of people coming through this stream lately, okay, and it may only be one guy, it's like, it's funny in a sense. If this is all the same guy that's doing this, okay, it's akin to watching somebody drunk try and get out of the door of a hall of trying to get down the hall of a bar that I used to go to, right? There were guys who get so drunk, you got a long 30-foot hallway to get out of the bar. And I kid you not, they'd bounce off the wall beside it 2 or 3 times before they found the hole to get out. Now, that can be taken some pretty, shall we say, adult directions about poking around trying to find the hole, but that's up to you. But, I've watched so many people repeatedly bang their head against the wall trying to get something done. This is why I say, if you're aiming to do something, absolutely talk to somebody that has successfully accomplished it before. Oh, there we go. Thanks so much, LA. Yeah, no doubt. The thing is, they seem to have this idea of let's try and get in, let's try it often enough, we'll get through the door eventually. Sure, I'm absolutely certain this person may have figured this part out, but probably not. I'm certain they're listening in. If you desire to come into the room, that's easy. Make a name, make your own profile, be honest, and follow the guidelines. It's simple. It's not like rocket science. And rest assured, I used to be a rocket scientist. In all fairness, the chap that I knew that was working down in the bottom end of Atlantis was better at it. But I had the dubious pleasure of being able to actually gauge where we were heading. The friend of mine that was working down in the bowels of the ship, frankly, had a much better connection where it came to the technological side of getting the engines to work. But what I was there for was to spot the problems, if at all possible, ahead of time. Okay, but understand, the best is, and I am of my own company, I am literally the CEO. But the best CEO in the world does not have to know everything. They simply have to find the people that they can trust to do the job that do know more than the average. Okay, and the most important thing for me is not the amount of knowledge somebody's got. It's the amount of integrity they've got and whether or not they've got the ability, to do the job at all. One thing I am going to be looking at, and I haven't figured out how to do it, but thus far we haven't gotten any input, and that's okay. I am going to start dealing with, because it was suggested I look at past lives. Now, at past lives, at some of the gaming characters I've had, at some of the little projects I'm working on, okay, as a way of bringing things up to speed. Okay, now I will tell you, one of the biggest things, one past life that does come to mind real quick is this issue of Atlantis. Now, a couple of big things. I've never researched as in gone on the internet to look up what the rumors are or what the claims are about Atlantis. Okay, but I will tell you this. Atlantis itself was not a city. Well, technically, it was a ship. Okay. And when it landed, it was a starship. Okay. And when it landed, they made contact with the locals. The locals asked where they were from, and what they actually said. Yeah, that's just it. When I'm looking at it, yeah, I've never researched it, but when we first got to Earth, okay, and we met the locals, they asked where we were from because we sent a few travelers out into the world away from from the ship in the first place, and there was a miss. It was literally mishearing, and we just went with it. Okay, when we landed, they turned around and they said, "Where?" They said, "Strangers, welcome. Where are you from?" And we told them we're from. Well, more than I shouldn't say we because I wasn't actually on the connecting on the first liaison, but our people literally told them we are from the Atlantia, as in the name of the ship was the Atlantia. Okay, well, the people figured that meant Atlantis. So they said we were from Atlantis. Okay, we're from Atlantis. They treated us well enough. Okay, and we did, much as we had a city that had, well, it looked like a city, and it really was a generation ship anyway. But it did have all kinds of incredible spires that were reflective like you would not believe. The sunlight popped off them like there was no tomorrow. They were, quite frankly, laser ablative and laser reflective, meaning in in space itself, you hit this ship with any sort of energy weapon, it would bounce it. Okay, it would either bounce it or diffract it completely to take all the power out of it. Okay, so we got here, and the whole place. We were here for quite a while because it was literally before we got to Earth, what we refer to as Sol 4. And there's a reason for that, by the way. This is not the third rock from the sun. And again, don't take my word for it. Go and don't ask me how to find it again. Years ago, I was poking around on NASA's site and stumbled across the ephemerae, the astrological layouts for a planet called Vulcan in this system. But it is right inside the photosphere of the sun. Okay. Now, the reality of it is, and this is where we go a little sideways, Leo is theoretically the traditional ruler of the sun is traditionally the ruler of Leo. Now, here's the thing: for astrology to work, you have to be completely consistent, meaning that whatever the rulers of the different signs have to be planets. Okay, planets, planetoids, something like that. They cannot be a luminary. So I'm looking at it going, well, the sun could not be the ruler. That couldn't be the ruler, but they had to be looking at something. So I went poking around on NASA's site and stumbled across, about 20 years ago, I stumbled across this neat little ephemeris, and I've got it, okay, for this planet called Vulcan, okay, that orbits the sun. And it's inside the sun's photosphere, so you guys won't even see it. But apparently the ancient astronomers did. So, of course, we ended up, we're sitting here. Our city, the Atlantia, is stable. We landed, we were safe, so to speak. But as the years went by, and it was not just a day or two, okay, but we had a lot of people on board, and we spread out amongst the area. And in all fairness, and I don't remember the locations of all of them, but we had 12 satellite cities. Okay, there were a couple in Europe. I know of it. I remember one at least was over in the one in Atlantis. There was one outreach city over in North America and one in South America. At this point, still working out the details, trying to remember where they were. Okay, I'm thinking that Machu Picchu was one of them. But what I've got to remember, what I've got to take a look at, okay, is continental drift as pertains. I know a chap that can do it. And if any of you guys have an idea how to do it, I need to take a look at where Machu Picchu was if we reverse continental drift to the point of it being a single continent. Now I know there's those of you that tell me that say, "Oh no, that's just false. It was never a single continent." I listened to somebody one day and I went, "Really?" So I'm guessing this means you saw it. Okay, but in order to remember where these different sites are, it's going to take a little bit of work. But I am actually working on it. Now, as time went on, our technology was head and shoulders, as you can well imagine, above the locals. So, of course, the locals were saying, the locals were saying, give us your, can't you give us your technology so that we can protect ourselves from our enemies? And the Atlantic Council, aka the gentleman that you knew of, if you know anything about Greek mythology, okay, this will make sense. Because again, there's a lot of crossover, but the king of the captain of the Atlantia flat out said, "No, we're not turning our technology over to mankind. You're too violent, too volatile, even now, for us to do that." Now, while this was going on, a young up and coming scientist was working down in the bottom levels of the ship. He'd converted a cargo bay into a makeshift lab to work on energy conversion. Now, he had just about had it perfected, but some of the other Atlanteans decided, hey, I think we should, let's just bypass what the governing body is saying, and let's get these weapons to these people. They've treated us so nicely. Let's trade the weapons with them, ignoring the guidance of the council. So the net result was that the locals decided to try and take the stuff and the weapons by force with the assistance of some of the Atlanteans. Okay, well, long and the short of it was the gentleman that had been working on the power source down in the bowels of the Atlantia had just about completed everything, barely got it turned on, and there was a detonation. Now, there was a lot of misconfusion on that individual's life, because he was dead like that. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm up in the control room, and the only reason I survived was because, let's see, that'll work. You take the ship, okay, and when the explosion happened, and it was literally just as the young scientist fired up the engine system, the explosion happened, and the whole city tilted just as the engine kicked in. Well, needless to say, tilt the city and then launch. Well, in the control room, I lost some really good friends. They literally gave their life for me, because the only thing that kept me alive was when that ship tilted. When it tilted and launched, there were people up on the parapets, up on the walkways. I mean, it was just a normal day in Atlantia, and we were just enjoying ourselves, doing our jobs, whatever was necessary. When this happened, and all of a sudden goes up, we lost the people that were walking on the walkways, on the suspended walkways. They ended up falling off for some reason. Dropping a quarter of a mile to the ground doesn't do your circulation any good. Unless we talk about it, spread it out pretty well. The scientist in the basement, and I'd become pretty good friends with him. Okay, like I'd gone down. I didn't understand what he was working on, but I was absolutely curious about it. So I went down. I'd gone down a number of times and spent hours down there talking to him about his theories and about what he thought would work. Well, when the ship tilted, in the control room, there were a lot of people in the control room, because you got to remember, we weren't just there to control the engines. We controlled all the traffic flow. We controlled all the electricity running throughout the ship. So we had a lot of stuff going on. And no, it was not all automated. Okay, it was automated as much as it was machinery, but we had people at the control centers. And when the ship all of a sudden tilted and took off, a bunch of my friends hit the wall back here. Okay, the only thing that saved my life was literally they hit the wall first, so I ended up hitting them. Now, maybe I killed a couple one or two of them on impact. I know the ones that hit the wall first, they were already dead. But their dying actually provided the padding for me to survive the impact. Okay, and when that happened, all of a sudden Atlantis was gone. But you got to remember, when it left, it was sitting right on the edge of the Bimini Islands. And when it took off, okay, there was a great inrush of water, and it literally looked from the local standpoint as though it had sank. Because not only was there an inrush of water where it was, it turned into a tsunami coming back up, back up onto the shore, and took out the people that were on the shore. Net result, there's this wonderful tale of Atlantis sinking. And if you go to the site where the Bimini Islands are and look at the fall lines of the stone towers, you take a look at those fall lines. They look remarkably like the fall lines of the support rails that hold up the shuttles that get launched into orbit. Same fall pattern. When the shuttle launches, all of a sudden the towers fall over. Same thing happened with the Atlantia. When it took off, the support lines that were holding everything together, that they had actually tapped into for geothermal. They literally tapped into the stone for geothermal energy, energy transfer. Now, the thing you got to realize is humans look at that geothermal and go, well, there's got to be vents. And the fall lines in the Bimini Islands didn't have vents. But you got to remember, energy does not require the vent. It is one molecule to the next. And once you understand that, designing equipment that operates on that philosophy is a lot easier. Now I was lucky. Okay, I survived that impact, but it took literally about 20,000 years to find my friend that had been in the basement. Okay, what I didn't know, because, well, let's face it, he died. I didn't know how much he knew and what he'd gone through. Right. But it turned out there was a staggering amount of guilt because he thought he'd blown up Atlantis. And, it wasn't until we reconnected that I was tickled pink. I could actually clarify that and go, no, what you did was gave us a fighting chance, because we got up into orbit and the energy system was still strong enough to create an oxygen, like a force field that held the oxygen in the plant, like in the ship, so that we could continue operating while we called for help. Okay, so we ended up calling for help, and we ended up getting help, but it was literally a couple of centuries later that the help arrived. Okay. And, when it finally arrived, they helped us get things stabilized and we were able to maneuver. But it's a good thing they got here, though, because they ended up cloaking the Atlanta. We got the cloak working again. A kind of a neat little cloak that honestly exists on Earth today. Take a look at Japan. Okay. Japan truckers, they've got a neat little camera system where on the back door, and I actually saw this on the news one day, years and years and years ago. Okay, and again, don't take my word for it. Okay, do your own research. But they had years ago, they came up with a neat little technology that on the back door of a semi, because their roads are so narrow, on the back door they've got a video screen. And all it does is they've got the camera on the nose of the truck, and it simply broadcasts the view of what the truck is seeing onto the back wall, onto the back door. In this way, other vehicles can see if something's coming and know if it's safe to pull out and go around. Of course, on a bit of a darker side, it also means they know if there's a car right there, and if they're trying to take them out, they can pull out at just the right moment. Yeah, I know that was a little black, but what the heck? So when you look at that, fortunately and hopefully they still remember that they actually didn't cause, we haven't actually talked about this in a long time, but the young scientist that was in the basement, down in the bowels, hopefully he still remembers he didn't actually cause the end of the Atlantean people. Quite frankly, it was his work that led to the development of the OTE drive, the oscillator densification of the transdimensional. The oscillator densification of the tri-transdimensional equipolarity. Okay, this is the star drive that literally enables many of the interstellar ships to operate. Okay, the funny part about it is he had to be given credit post-mortem. In other words, after he died. Unfortunately, I can honestly say that the reason that he got credit was because of the fact that I didn't have the scientific knowledge. So, of course, when the ship showed up to help us, when they asked how we got it running, it was very easy for me to go, look, this is the guy that did it. This is the guy that figured it out. And, and they said, well, where is he? And I went, I don't know, you got a space filter? Because he was right there when it blew up. And I'm just guessing, I'm no scientist, but I'm guessing he got atomized. On the plus side, it was painless, aside from that sudden, seemingly eons-long tearing sensation as one cell gets ripped from the next. Okay, fortunately, most people don't recognize that. So I mean, and I appreciate that. We're just getting corroboration here from LA that the gentleman in question does know that, yeah, he didn't cause it. It's funny because the technology that he developed, that he perfected, was literally the backbone of interstellar travel later. Prior to that, we were using a very slow system. One of the better systems that was used early on, were the solar sails. Okay. So the solar sails and wormhole navigation. But the OTE drive enabled us to literally accelerate beyond the speed, well, pretty much beyond all speed. Okay, it was kind of like getting into an accelerator cannon, into a shell in the accelerator cannon, and just taking off. Now, the neat part about it, okay, when we look at society's world, we actually have the capacity to make these sorts of changes happen. Oh, well, that's a bonus. I'm innocent. I didn't do the sabotage. I can honestly say I was completely out of the equation on that one. But I did find out. I actually found out the name of the ship that I got reminded of the name of the ship that actually came and helped the Yldrbac get back on track. And that was let me think here. I believe it was called the Corvanian, but I'm not 100% certain at present. I'm going to have to do a little bit of research because that's one of the past lives I'm in the middle of actually accounting. Yeah. Nathan's just going, I remember that. Well, oh, I remember that PTSD type event. I had Raven remembering something. Oh, bonus. Yeah, I had with Raven remembering something about that. Yeah, that event. Now, the only question I got for you there, because I know there were a lot of people from the Yldrbac that got left behind. Okay, because there was a growing problem out on the dock, and of course there were some Atlanteans that had gone out to side with the locals, and other Atlanteans that had literally taken up, they volunteered. They weren't necessarily guards to start with. But when the security team was running low on people, some of the general population grabbed weapons and said, look, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to back you up as best I can. Some of those people got left behind. And unfortunately, the ones closer to the Yldrbac got vaporized when the engines kicked in. And I'll tell you, if you were on the dock at that point, that's going to leave a mark. But the ones that were left behind ended up, as near as I understand it, because, well, let's face it, I was in orbit at that point. But we did get some communication from people below. Once the repair ship showed up, okay, we did manage to rescue a few of the Atlanteans that were left behind that still wanted to go home. But some, by the time they got here, were literally at a point where they'd found a way to get along in the new community and stayed put. I don't know what kind of havoc that caused on Earth at that point. What I do know is that it lasted for centuries. Okay. And, we can go from there into a whole other ballgame of memories. But I am in the process. That's one of the little books that I'm actually in the middle of writing. Okay. Is my time on the Yldrbac. Okay. And like I said, I've got a lot of these little books going on, a lot of these little stories going on. But that one itself, Atlantis didn't sink. It left. Okay. And for the great many years, it was still up in orbit. Okay. Eventually, they ended up limping it home. Where are we here? Oh, well, yeah, and that would make sense. Here's the thing, Nathan. Like I said, there were 12 sites. I know that of it. I remember at least one, maybe two, over in South America. There was one in Antarctica, and another one up in North America. Another one or two in North America. There were 12 in total. I've got the floor plan of the entire superstate of the Atlantean Empire. Okay, but when the hub detonated and took off, all of a sudden people got left. So again, we've got these neat little thing. And in my notes somewhere here, and I'll be pulling it up again, I can show you the layout of the place of the. Let's try for English, shall we? I can show you the layout of the Atlantean Empire. It had a central hub, and then it had 12 cities around it. Okay, remind you of anything in particular? The funny thing is, humans use something called Pythagorean numerology. Okay, I learned what I call base 12 or universal, and it's based on 12 numbers. So I mean, we are looking at a lot of things that are changing. And like I said, I've got other videos I will be uploading. I just have to pick a time frame for them. I've got at least 35 videos from a prior station that I had, a prior, I don't know what, profile. Okay, that have not been heard and haven't been seen, frankly, since for the last 5 or 6 years. So these are some of the videos I will be putting out come from a ways back. But yeah, it's funny because this world, people say, "Oh, it's such a they're so remote." But I'll tell you, the Vikings knew where they could travel across the oceans. Yeshua and himself could get from one side of the world to the other. But if you think about it, look at what he was doing. Ain't that hard to believe? And of course, because off-worlders have been here for a very long time, as have ancient races, we're looking at a melting pot here where there is so much that we can do with this world, so much beneficial. Where are we here? Nathan's going, but things keep coming up. What have we got? Oh, not sure what that was supposed to be, but okay, yeah. Once he's got information, he'll blurt it out. Things that are familiar, how to do things, knowing things that can be done without knowing how to do them. Yeah, and that's the thing and this is why I said, Nathan, I've got a map in my head, which just clued in something. Remember, I said there. I told you I've got the schematics, and I couldn't figure out where the heck they came from. Of a semi hemisphere, a computer that was a crystalline computer. Okay, the reason for that layout, and I've got it in my notes here somewhere. I only just came across it. Okay, that whole computer was literally based on the Atlantean hub. Okay, that's why it worked. It was a communication device. I was trying to figure out why I would remember that particular computer. It was literally a communication device. Oh, that is no fun, Nathan. I've had the PTSD attacks. Still get them periodically. Okay. I know of a few other people in the room that also suffer from PTSD. And yeah, technically I could turn around and go, hey, let's do it. And that's not a bad idea, really. Okay. That really isn't a bad idea. Ever. Yeah, no doubt. I remember one day having a PTSD attack, trying to get out of the hospital after a heart attack. And it took me 45 minutes with 7 people trying to keep me stable to get me out of the building 50 feet away. The door was only 50 feet down the road. Well, 50 yards from the elevator to the front door. Yeah. Uh-oh. Oh, there we are. LA goes, swings from the chandelier myself from time to time. Yeah, and it's so much more fun if you're allowed to do that. But, Atlantis had a lot going for it. One of the things it had going for it was it didn't have the prejudice and the fear that was rampant on Earth at the time, and quite frankly still is. You'd think after several thousand years, humans would figure out that you don't have to fear the flashing lights in the sky, okay, or the rustle of the wind. I'll tell you, it took us forever to convince people killing your firstborn son does not affect the weather, but it does affect the local mood. So we are looking at a lot of change happening. But this is just one of, let me grab this. Yeah. How I'm managing to get my pen all the way on the other side of the desk from here without throwing it, I don't know. I put it down here and it ends up way over that end. I'm going like, really? It's not like it has to go that far away. And just making, obvious from my end. Okay. In your art, looking at society itself and the mess it's gotten itself into, what are some of the bigger concerns that you guys are bearing witness to regarding the path that society is on? Because the outcome is pretty cut and dry. You're going down the same road. Society right now is heading down the same road that it went down way back during Rome. But it's these types of topics that we're going to be looking at on Wednesdays, as far as how do we get society moving in the right direction? What can we do? Now, I did directly take the idea, and this is what's holding things up a little, but I'm still well within time frame. This is why the January newsletter will go out to the people that have just asked for one. Everybody else already has one, but I am adding where appropriate pictures and other things, to bring to fill in to fill out the newsletter. Eventually, I'll quit calling it a newsletter, and we'll change it over and call it a magazine. Good night, Steve. Thanks so much for dropping by. I really do appreciate it. Because of the fact I started really early, I'm not quite getting ready to shut down yet. But one of the very important factors from my end is to find what is going to make the news that much more enjoyable, that much more informative for people. Oh, okay, that's good to know. And I see somebody else has been. Well, this is why we've got the moderators in here keeping an eye on things. I will cover other past lives as we go along. But let me ask you this. Where it comes to society, are there any areas that you guys feel that we can start? Oh, there we go. I know what that was. That we can start working on, because it's, I'm looking at it this way. I've got this comparatively tiny hub of people. We've got 584 people here. Okay, okay, but even the longest journey is started with one step. Okay, so what we're looking at is starting this journey now and seeing what we can do about really making it essentially a safe place across the board. Now, I say across the board, but let's be clear on something. The trolls, the bullies, extreme narcissists, frankly, there's all kinds of places you can hang out. Okay, because the world does not revolve around me either. Although in my case, I don't put a handle on it, I'm in serious trouble. You know, absolutely. If you spot something coming up you didn't say, do exactly what you just did there, Steve. Okay. And just go, that's not me. That will get them and remove the problem. Now, I don't know how many of the mods know how to evict people, but I'm guessing all of you are better. One of the things I am looking for is where we can make the biggest impact in the shortest amount of time, if you will, because we got to start making an impact. And with billions of people listening to people at the front of a church or out on a soapbox going, we're all going to die. Another several million people, probably a billion or two. On the other hand, I guess it's kind of like an interactive movie. LA's just got a little glitch in my internet. I saw that there was a hiccup there, and I don't know if it's me or if it's just the way the net works. But there it goes again. Yeah, I'm looking at this. I got a white screen. So where are we now? I don't know. I'm missing me. But to listen to people say the world's ending, and it is, in several billion, maybe a couple of trillion years, whenever soul falls apart. When soul burns out, Earth will go away. Okay, it's not likely to die before that. Although the human race that keeps behaving the way it is, it may have problems of its own. Now, I know tomorrow's Thursday, so I just... let me ask you this. On Friday, I'm going to be dealing with the paranormal. Okay, and there's a number of things I can go, but okay, in the paranormal field, is there any part of the paranormal field that you would like to focus on Friday? Now, bear any request, absolutely let me know, because I'm putting the information together ahead of time to get people back to church. Okay, not because I'm going to church myself. As a matter of fact, the social aspect, this little off track. Absolutely. Do I recommend finding a church, a temple, a coven that you can fit in with, that you can... Okay, that I know the people that run the coven. Okay, I know more about them, in all fairness, than I do about who runs the church. What I do know is the people in the church do like being called on it. But where it comes to, like I said, on Friday, we're going to be dealing with some aspect. I'm going to pick a tool to focus on and see what we can do with it. Okay, because every one of you has the capacity to access your higher senses. Okay, every single one of you can do this for yourself, comfortably, accurately. Although I will tell you, it takes a while getting used to it to be able to go with the comfortable thing. This is just one of the things I'm looking at, because like I said, on top of building the publishing company, getting the printer that I am building, I'm just not building it in a physical body yet. I'm not putting it into a building as of yet. Right now, it is being built as a net around the world. Okay, and as I find people that are functional, okay, that are on the same track, we can start. Over the years, I've talked to a number of them about the ideas I've got. Okay, and that is just one of these neat little things that I'm looking at going, how do I make headway from here that I was known by back then? I'm not about to say what they were, because they are way too complicated to get into. Okay, but some of the tools I do want to work and look at, some of the paranormal side of things, is how useful the senses are. Now that I figured that out, and like I said, I ask, and then if I come up with something. I did this a couple of months back, but on Friday, because it's going to be the paranormal thing, Yeah. Holy mackerel. What is going on there? Let's refresh that and see if it kicks it on my end. I'm guessing we're having a problem here. I'm guessing this is what you guys are saying. Well, I don't know if you guys are all on pause at the same time at this point. Well, that's annoying. But that said, on to actually sense things. I did this a few months back. You know, I'm wondering because here's the neat little thing with this. You know, with the timing out, we hit the 2 hour mark, and that seems to be where things get a little dicey, which is really a weird setup. Think about it. Just checking something here to you guys. Question in and see what happens. Yeah. Thanks so much, there, Steve. I appreciate that. You know, I don't know what's going on, but kind of a massive problem when I hit the 2 hour mark the last time. Because we are currently at, we're currently just over 2 hours. Right. I did, however, start 20 minutes early. You know, so that could be the problem. From that end, on Friday, I'm going to be dealing with, and we're going to take a look at that. Okay. And talk about an interesting idea. I'll have to bounce that one around. Yeah, I do that on occasion. I'll come up with an idea in my own head and go, what am I doing with, what am I going to do with that? Way too many things going through my head on occasion. I know as soon as I get done this, as soon as the stream is closed, I'll be getting a quick bite to eat. But I must say, good night, Steve. You take care. Assuming that you're taking off. I cannot say thank you enough. You guys, the mods have done a staggering job. Okay. And, with that in mind, this is a good move. Now, the other thing, but I honestly don't know. It will probably be a rice pilaf of some form. Okay. I just have to take a look at what's in the fridge. It was funny. We had a couple of problems, and my son went and ordered some extra food in. I may just decide to splurge and get pizza. I haven't quite figured it out. But with that in mind, I am working on different programs. I've got a number of different things on the go. One of my big goals at this point, what do we got here? Holy mackerel. We time out for 4 minutes, and all of a sudden I've got, we're up to 588 people. Now, like I said, and this is, we'll start looking for an additional mod. Okay, because that keeps a ratio of around 1 to 100. I get a kick out of it. We do order pizza on occasion, but my son, on the other hand, also makes pizza. Right? It's great having somebody here that'll cook. Although, in all fairness, I know he'll move out sooner or later. That is a terrible flavor for a pizza there, LA. Yeah. LA goes, pizza sounds good. No, I will be bringing other mods in, but I'm going to keep it to literally a ratio. And like I'm going to look at picking one up once we're well into the 600. Okay, I'm thinking as a rough gauge around the 620. I'll start looking at picking up another moderator. Until then, absolutely, guys, if you'd be kind enough, keep an eye open for for people that you think may be beneficial. Okay, I'd much rather work with recommendations of this will make a good moderator or that won't. Well, I did say I can't read well. But from my standpoint, it's real simple. We've got this massive opportunity with the internet here. We can reach, as somebody pointed out one day, we're already global. Okay. And I'm just tired of everything that I see going, oh, we're all going to die. Well, we are all going to die. Lord knows I've done it often enough. It's not that scary of a deal. Okay. But it is time to start changing things for the better. Now, with that in mind, again, okay, where are we here? Let's pull that up. That one there. There we are. Okay, so I know what I'm doing on Friday. Saturday, we are going to go back we're going to go back to the basics. On Saturday, we're going to deal with self-worth and really building that side of it. Get people back on track to see where their strengths are and see what we can do about starting to capitalize on them. And I mean capitalize as in you put your strengths to use, to work, to change your world for the better. This is like Wednesday is regarding society. And, I'm not going to get into a political tirade by any stretch because I've yet to see any one party that really stands out as special compared to any other one. But it would be nice to see that happen. I tried the issue of getting into politics. I'm not about to tell you that this will guaranteed go one way or the other. Only that I am putting my best foot forward to try and hold things in balance. Sunday, of course, is going to be open topic. And then Monday I will figure out. And if you've got a race in particular, absolutely drop me a line. And really boils down to this. Most of the time, the first thought and the first suggestion that comes in is likely the one that gets up, unless that gets dealt with, unless it turns out that we have some sort of a pressing problem that's got to be dealt with. That's just the way that life is going to work here. This is going to be an evolutionary process. And I am building on, like I said, I am tying the newsletter, positive perspectives, and the live stream together, so that they will cross-reference each other. The important factor here is this. It's literally because of your guys' efforts and your guys' support that I'm able to keep functioning at all in this capacity. Time works from my end. The other thing I have to look at is this. No matter which way I try and do it. See, the neat part there, fair, you've got, go with, large meatball and double pepperoni. I quite often, if I'm ordering one in, I literally get something called a pizza, which is just which is just almost straight meat. let the stress get to me any longer. And sitting back hoping people are going to change isn't going to work. This is obvious. I've sat for 55 years in the shadows waiting for people to stop treating each other like garbage. It's just a massive problem in my eyes. And the way I finally got it through my head was real simple. If I and hide in the shadows, am I really doing any better than anybody else? This is why a couple of I've got a number of books I'm working on. Some of them I've literally got to a point where we're going to make headway with them. But the one that I just mentioned that I turned over to the printer was that nobody else had a copy of. So this is something that is absolutely, from my standpoint, this is just one of those things I go, here you go. It's something that nobody else has the capacity to do because nobody had the hard copy. And of course, my grandmother happens to be dead at this point, so that But with that in mind, are there any topics that you guys can see going on? Which is why I'm doing my best to get organized with it. I mean, I was really pleased today. I actually remembered to close both doors. But I think we are spending so much time in buffering. Think what I'm going to do. Let's shrink you down here. I do appreciate it. I will be back again on Friday. I won't be here tomorrow because that's my gaming day. But I will be here on Friday. And on Friday, we're going to look at literal testing online so you can test for yourself what your higher senses are like. Okay. And yes, I am going to start advertising that pretty quick. The idea is very simple. Get you on and get you guys to actually get to test your own ability and thereby start to improve your own life. Okay. Because these are techniques I learned. I didn't have the training of a bunch of other psychics. When I was growing up, I learned it all the hard way. If I can eliminate some of those little kinks, if I can eliminate some of those barriers for you guys, I will absolutely do so. With that in mind, I'm going to call it a night because I can feel my throat starting to go now. The buffering is just insane right now. But I'm going to say thank you very much for sharing your time with me. I really appreciate it. Mods, you did an absolute bang-up job today. Thank you so much for having my back on that. And for the rest of you and the newcomers, thanks so much for sharing your time. I really do appreciate it. I will catch up with you again. Until then, do take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.